down south. And it is we down lost. It in the be like highway.
Listen up, young people. If you see a
All right, guys. Let's make sure my volume is up because I got something I got to say. I hope my volume is good. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Welcome to another episode of Jabari Block Media Team Resistance. What you just saw, I'm going to play it again. What you just saw here is a video that we, the team, posted today on all the media platforms that Jabari Media is on. This is the video of a Ukrainian of Ukrainian soldiers being beat up by boxers at a boxing gym, because a lot of people, they don't know much about the policies that go on in Ukraine because it's not really talked about. We have. I won't say we. I will say that myself. I have made some contact. What's up, Extra Bola? What's going on? I hope everybody's having a good time. Having a good time, man. I've made contact with some Ukrainians because I'm looking to get Ukrainians on the show. It's difficult. If you have watched this show before, there is a very old episode. This was like around the beginning of when Jabari Media was getting started, where I interviewed a man by the name of Ivan, who is a Ukrainian that lives in Kiev. Now, Ivan and I had a very colorful conversation because he was pro-Zelensky. And this was around the time when the war was fresh in people's mind because it was a Russian invasion. And this is around the time where Zelensky became president. Before that, there was a civil war before the Russians invaded. The civil war was between Ukrainians that lived in the Donbass and West regions and the East, which is the Kiev government. Before that, they were under, it wasn't Yanukovych. It was Petro Poroshenko. They were under Petro Poroshenko, who was the president that took over ousting Yanukovych. It was a CIA-backed coup. Liberals call it the Maidan Revolution. I don't call it that because that's not what it was. It was a CIA-backed color revolution funded to overthrow the government of Ukraine, which they succeeded in doing, and they put in a puppet named Petro Poroshenko. This was during the Minsk 1, 2, and all that stuff. We need to get into history. Petro Poroshenko lost that election to Zelensky because Zelensky ran on a peaceful agenda with his platform, and he won because the Ukrainians all want peace all together. No matter what side they are on, that's what they're looking for. So when the Russian invasion happened, the civil war was still going on. Zelensky did not do what he was promised. Instead, he stayed with NATO behind him and everything. So now you have, I'll show it again. You have shit like this going on where people are being forced to the front lines. This is the first time somebody gets saved. I'm trying to get a follow-up on what happened to this guy. Did they still eventually draft him into the front lines? I have not gotten a follow-up on that yet, but soon. So we posted this on our Instagram. Wow, there's 130 new followers on there too. So we posted it and just want to show you how much it blew up. It has almost 500,000 views, 10K likes. You know what I mean? And a lot of it in the comment section is crazy. There's people that are from Ukraine in that comment section that said that this is true. There are videos from all over the cities in Ukraine where people are being kidnapped, men are being kidnapped and forced into transcription. And they are being forced to be into the military. You know what I mean? People have said, "Oh well, that's the policy of certain countries. Certain countries do that. That is correct. That is correct." You know what I mean? I think it's wrong because these people are being put on the front lines on a losing battle where they are dying. They're not coming back the same if they do survive, and also they're also being forced to fight for Israel. 2 months ago, Zelensky literally announced that he was sending drone operators, troops, to Israel to assist Israel. And what is Israel doing right now in the Middle East? Oh, that's right, a genocide. Okay. So I'm a little ticked off, and I had to start early before Alex Flores gets on here, because these people have the nerve in this comment section to tell people that this is all fake. I posted 4 different videos in different areas of Ukraine, filmed by Ukrainians. Go on the page on Instagram, check it out yourself. Filmed by Ukrainians, people, of their men, sons, daughters, whoever have you. Good. What's up, Chuck? UFO show. What's up? Whatever have you, sons, fathers, whoever. You know, I put a testimony of a family talking about how they want their father back, father of 8. That's on Instagram, because their father is missing. They don't know where their father at. Ukraine took them and forced them into the military. So this is real to Ukrainians. This is happening to them. They're missing their family members because their family members are being forced into transcription. And a lot of Americans love to use the excuse, well, it's the policy of other countries to do that. Okay, that's cute. You know, that's why that doesn't make Israel a democracy, because they force you into the military and they put propaganda into your fucking brain. And if you don't go, you get locked up. Similar to Ukraine. So the problem is that we had a draft here in the United States. And if you look up the history of the draft, the reason why it stopped, radiation detector. Thank you. I'm glowing. The reason why it stopped is because the draft stopped in the United States simply because the military was about to, coup the government. People got to look into our history. We were not happy about the draft. That's why there is no draft right now. That's why people are freaking out about the United States now trying to bring back some form of a draft. So you can't sit in your privilege here in the United States and talk about how it's okay for Zelensky to be drafting people in the way that they're doing, where they're kidnapping people off the streets. Just because you're angry at Russia, liberals, you can criticize Russia and criticize the Ukrainian government too, who deserves a lot of criticism. Especially the fact that they're being invaded, but they got the nerve to send their troops to Israel. They got troops in Israel helping Israel out in the genocide. And before that, there were Ukrainian troops that volunteered and joined Israel before Zelensky even signed a doctrine to allow them to go. So, I do not like the fact that people believe in propaganda so strong that they do not want to hear nuance. It's all black and white to them. Nuances in everything. Everything. And if your history of Ukraine started in 2022, instead of just actually reading how Ukraine became a country, how the borders were drawn, how there was Nazis, Stefan Bandera, who was friends of Hitler, You know what I mean? The Russiophobic rhetoric that came from the east of Ukraine. You know what I mean? There's a lot about Ukraine, and just like Israel, America dumbs down the propaganda. And you look foolish when you run into a person like me who actually knows the history and could connect the history. I have had journalists on this show that came from Ukraine, visited Ukraine. I had a journalist that John Parker, I believe it. Yes, I had a journalist named John Parker who went to Ukraine in the Donbass region. Okay, he was conducting an interview in this apartment building, and when they left the apartment building, not even 2 minutes later, they're out the building. The building gets destroyed by Ukrainian missiles. That's in the Donbass. Those are Ukrainians, Ukrainian Russians. Who comes from the Donbass region as well? Zelensky. Okay? So we can sit here and say, oh, Russia should never invade it. I agree with you. Was there a reason why? Correct. There is a reason why. You want to accept the reason why with the security issues? No, you don't. You don't. That's your problem, that you don't want to hear. This is my issue with liberals. They want to dictate to you, but don't want to read. So, moving forward, Alex Suarez should be on here any second now. There was an attack in the dormitory, which is part of the show we're covering. This dormitory was attacked last weekend. And in this dormitory was in the Luhansk area, the Luhansk region, which was formerly known as Ukraine. Luhansk is now under Russian territory because of the referendum. Liberals don't want to acknowledge the referendum. They just say Putin took it. There's video evidence of people voting to leave Ukraine. And why wouldn't the Donbass region, Luhansk and Lugansk, want to leave Ukraine when they have been in a civil war for the last 8 years before Russia even invaded? Who you think the Kiev regime was shooting at for the last 8 years before Russians invaded? No, they won't. None of this history, 20,000 people dying, isn't relevant to liberals because in 2022, Putin invaded. That's all they care about. They only care about that part. NATO in America doesn't care about Ukrainian lives. They want Russia to continue to fight Ukraine in hopes that Russia gets exhausted. Well, they're not getting exhausted because after the dormitory was destroyed, this is what Putin had to say.
And recently, we hear more and more often the statements from the Baltic states regarding NATO attacking Kaliningrad. And recently, Foreign Minister of Lithuania said that the Baltic countries have means to raise Russian air defense in the Kaliningrad region to the ground. Do you think, could such an attack happen? What will the response be? What did you say? They have means to raise the air defense bases to the ground? Well, the Russian Federation possesses every mean to raise to the ground everyone and everything that will attempt to do so.
That sounds like the Resnick bombings that they only used like 2 times, 3 times in the war, because they used it as the last time I used it was a response to the dormitory being attacked. And this dormitory is, it's also a university. It was mostly women, young women and young girls who were murdered in this attack. It was about 4 drones. I made an incorrect incorrect research of saying it was 15 drones. I have to take that back. You got to understand, when tragedies and stuff like this happen and you're covering it, information switches up. Information becomes more clear. I did see in a report that they mentioned 15 drones. I was incorrect. It was actually 4 drones that Ukraine used on that Lugansk school. They already brought this to their unprovoked full-scale Russian invasion propaganda. They've been fed. They don't want to pivot towards more accurate narratives. Yes, exactly. This idea that Putin doesn't want to talk to nobody is a fucking lie. Putin sits down and talk all the fucking time. All fucking time. And he's not dictating power like the Americans do. The Americans dictate power. They do that. That's what they love to do. They love to tell people what to do. That's why they're having a hard time with Iran, which we'll get to in a second. But let's focus on the Russian part. So Russia told all the foreign ministers after God smacking the military, the military structures in Kiev. Now, Kiev is a very large city, so the idea where they were saying, "Oh, Kiev is burning," Kiev's not burning. Is there a lot of areas in Kiev that have been hit? Yes, but Kiev's a very large city. Kiev's not burning. It's going to take a lot for the Russians to fuck up Kiev the way they want to fuck up Kiev. It's going to take a lot. So, yes, they did that, and now there's a bigger attack happening, and it's to the point that Russia said that they want all foreign ministers, all foreign diplomats, all that stuff to leave Kiev. You know what I mean? And this isn't a joke. This is a promise. So the America and NATO has told their people to leave. And from my understanding, people are leaving. They also said that they don't want Ukrainian citizens and stuff involved. And if they decide to volunteer and be a part of the war, then they will also be a part of the casualty. This is what they say. Okay? So it's getting real. I think they're going to shoot another resonate, probably more than one. And those missiles are very, very powerful. You know, I'm tired of the Western propaganda, how they just try to act like what they have is better than everybody's. If that was true, you would overthrow Iran. You know, we got idiots like Piers Morgan talking about the Mossad intelligence was so good, how they found the Ayatollah. Ayatollah was sitting in his house wanting to be hid. He literally said that himself. If Ayatollah was wanting to hide, he would have left his house. You guys hit him at his house, and then you want to say that's good Mossad intelligence. This is how stupid Westerner propaganda is. Very fucking dumb. And you know, I'm tired of it. I'm sorry about the F-bombs. I'm sorry about that. But, you know, I got to share this video. I got to share this video. Let me text Alex, see what's coming on. Alex, coming on. I know he got some stuff going on. We might have to switch the time of these live streams. Amy is absent again because she got some stuff going on, but she is not going. But you know, we're getting to the point where all this shit just sounds like bluffing to me. You are not as powerful as you used to be, America. China and Russia sees that. I mean, look, you got Zelensky over here begging for more missiles and stuff. My thing is, bro, you wouldn't have to be begging for more missiles and stuff if you didn't attack those girls at that school. If you didn't blow up that school, you would be fine right now. You know what I mean? Y'all would be having tit for tat war like y'all been having because, you know, they have reached up their defenses. They have upgraded their defenses. They have drones and all the stuff like that. They have the support. And they've been doing, even though I disagree with long-range strikes because it just escalate more war, and they have killed citizens in Russia out in the suburbs of Moscow. They have killed citizens. Imagine you living in the suburbs, you trying to help out your kids, stuff like that, and then here comes a missile from Ukraine. Here come drones from Ukraine. You know what I mean? And then everybody in the comment section was laughing about it. Okay, so innocents being murdered means that it's okay because it's guys that you don't like. That's the Western morality is just stupid. The way that the morality is in this country and in Europe is just very, very dumb. And you guys think that y'all are better than the brown people in the Middle East is shit. Everything that you accuse brown people in the Middle East of doing is what y'all do here. You know, hypocrites. Fucking hypocrites, if you ask me. And you know, I'm kind of disappointed in the fact that we have a society that really can't critical think for themselves anymore. They just believe in being mouth-fed wartime propaganda. Liberals pretend to be the most moralistic, but they're the most war hawkish when it's their side. How can you sit here and talk about how you hate the system and how you want to change the system, But when it comes overseas, you got no problem with brown and black people being murdered. You got no problem with Russians being ethnically cleansed from Ukraine, because that's exactly what Petro Poroshenko was trying to do during his tenure as the coup president. And that is exactly what the legacy of Zelensky is trying to do. Have y'all ever looked into Zelensky's policies? When you see a Russian, not Russian, an Orthodox Christian go on the Piers Morgan show, who is a human rights lawyer, and I can't even think of his name right now, and he talks about how he went to Ukraine to go to Orthodox church on a Sunday, or is it Saturday? I forgot which day the Orthodox church actually have their Sabbath. And then he says that Ukrainian soldiers, not Russian, went into the Orthodox church and started beating people up. He said on Piers Morgan. Does that sound like a democratic country to you? Or why are they trying to ban Russian Orthodox churches? Why are they banning the Russian language when almost half of Ukrainians speak Russian and are Russian descent as well too? They share the same blood. They're damn near. This is like a civil war when you think about it on a larger scale, because Ukraine was a part of Russia. The Church of Russia started in Kiev. There's a lot of history of Russia from thousands of years, and y'all let this country that's only been around after stealing land for 250 years tell you what the real history is when they haven't even been around since the beginning of Russia. Shame on your foolishness. Shame on your fucking foolishness. It makes no sense. See, we got another comment here. Let's see. We gray people are up here laughing at your entire species from orbit. we are, however, rightly concerned about the overabundance of the Nazi variant on your parent. Oh my god, yo, Chuck UFO show is funny as fuck. I think you're almost as funny as my boy Extra Bola. Oh man, listen, it's just really stupid. And this is why we're in World War III right now. This is why. Because we had let these psychopaths take over. And we let these psychopaths get to this point. And it's not really our fault why these psychopaths are the way they are. You know what I mean? You didn't know. You didn't know it was this bad. I get it. We're working class people. We have a lot to deal with. You know what I mean? Take care of home, raise families, work very hard to pay the bills. The gas is through the fucking sky. All this shit. You know what I mean? But God, we need to figure a way how we can inspire our working people to overthrow this system, because this system is going to put us into more chaos than it already is. They want the chaos, because when there's chaos, they can put their foot on your neck because they feel justified by the chaos. You got to understand that. And this is exactly what is happening in Ukraine. So again, in closing, before I go on to the next subject, Ukraine can be criticized for what Ukraine does. And that does not mean that you have to be pro-Putin to criticize Ukraine. I'm not pro-Putin. I wrote an article on a lot of things about Putin that I don't like, and I was being fair and wrote about things that in foreign policy-wise that he has done for Africa and for Latin America that I agree with. You know why? Because I'm a balanced journalist. That's why. I don't get paid by corporate backers and all this shit. I am just a working class union guy. You get me? That's it. Alex Soares will be here soon. He just texted me. A union guy. You know what I mean? That's all I am. And that's no one's above me. No one's below me. We are all at the same level. We are all equals here to me. It's the way I see it. And Ukraine has a story that Ukrainians are telling. And all you dumb motherfuckers here in the comment sections that want to say that their stories are fake, laughing and shit like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then we got Islamophobics. I'm just looking at this. Islamophobics anti-Semitic assholes. They're calling Ukraine Jew-Ukraine. Like, it makes no sense. It's just absolutely stupid. So let's move on. So because we got some more shit to talk about. But here's a victory. We got some good news. There is a driver union for Uber and all that.
Told that they weren't really workers. Come on now. Just independent contractors, whatever the hell that means. Replaceable, disposable, on their own. Meanwhile, these so-called independent contractors carry billion-dollar platforms on their backs while they struggle to survive. But drivers had a different vision. They said, "Nah, not today." That's what I'm talking about. They called BS. And I just said, they said bullshit. Bullshit. Because workers deserve dignity. And dignity full-time work can actually pay the rent and put groceries on the table. Workers deserve money. I'm not going to shy away from it. Money that allows families to live, not just barely survive while corporations stack record profits.
That's right.
Workers deserve respect.
Yeah.
The respect of being treated like a human being, not an
I hope they
algorithm,
don't pull
not
out.
a data point,
You might be
not
right.
a disposable line of code. And workers deserve power. The power to have a real voice in the conditions shaping their labor and their lives. Y'all know what it is. Money, power, and respect is the key to life. And at the end of the day, that is what a union is about. And this morning, 70,000 rideshare drivers claimed all three. If rideshare drivers can organize, the question is no longer whether workers can win. The question is who got next. Because big tech is not untouchable. Gig work is not untouchable. Corporate power has never been untouchable. It has only depended on workers in believing that it was. Today changes what workers believe they are allowed to fight for.
So they go a good win right there. You know what I mean? And maybe companies may pull out. I think this is a good chance for a lot of people to see this that is in the app driving business and snowball into other states. You know what I mean? Now that we have an established, you could build more. And these guys need their money. You know what I mean? They don't make that much money off of like the rides itself. What they make money off is mostly tips. You know what I mean? I have a friend that does Lyft, and they told me that they get like $7 for this, $5 here. Bro, that's not even enough to keep your gas nowadays. You know what I mean? So you gotta do a lot of freaking driving. There was a movement here that we talked about on the show where they was trying to get a base pay plus tips. A base pay hourly plus tips here in New Haven and stuff like that. And I believe it passed in New Haven. I don't know how far it went. I gotta go and check out more. But yeah. There's a lot of little fights that are happening that is going to help us, and we gotta highlight them. We gotta talk about them, even though it's very, very sad and upsetting of what's going on. We have to have some kind of inspiration and yes, this shit is going on. Working class people are being fucked every way they can, but at least these things are happening. You know what I mean? So I want to give a good salute to the app share drivers. We have Alex Suarez up. What's up, Alex?
By the way, I told you in a text I was committing to half an hour.
Yeah.
Because I'm on late, I'm going to stay with you till 6. So that way I'll be on for about 40 minutes.
Yeah, no problem, bro. Thank you for coming.
I was even telling you 5:45, but you know what? I can commit till 6, bro. That way I can contribute more. I'm having problems with my phone because even though I turned the alarm volume up all the way, I still can't hear the alarm, bro. There's something wrong with this phone. And I just bought it recently. That's capitalism for you, right?
Yeah.
If you're not a bourgeois where you can get an iPhone, you're going to have a crappy Android and these things happen.
Yeah. So we were talking about Ukraine and the escalation with Russia, and then we got into the good news about the union that just started in Massachusetts, where it's for rideshare drivers. So I was,
Interesting.
so I was.
Where I live, there is no ride share. Where I live, it's illegal. So when you order Lyft or Uber, it can only be one order. Like you can bring multiple people in the car, but you can't share a car with other clients. Like so, there's certain parts of the country where that's not even permitted. Yeah, including here.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that. See, there's a lot of ways that they do things.
By the way, in case I forget, brother, remind me later. I wrote a letter to Alex Saab.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I want to share what I said. It was concise, and I'm still not going to comment on Dulcie, but I definitely want to read what I had said. I think I took a picture of the letter. If not, I can summarize more or less what I said. Translating it from Spanish to English.
All right, I got it in the show notes here. Cool. So yeah, congrats for the union. I'm gonna try every time we stream show a good working class victory, because there's so much bullshit going on. We gotta stay inspired.
By the way, whenever you finish the book that you got, you can make notes with questions, and maybe we could do like an exclusive on the book as part of the show. And because like I told you, the book is highly political. We talk politics on the show. It's a personal biography, but there's a lot of political implications in the story. So
yeah. I had to finish a class this week, so I'm definitely going to start the book this weekend because I have time.
Yeah, it's only about 200 pages. It shouldn't take too long to finish it. Yeah,
a very quick read. Yeah, I'm super excited.
I thought it was like 150 pages, but it turned out, maybe because of the format, about 200. But there's books nowadays that are even 300-400, so it's not that long a book. It's about a medium-sized book.
Yeah. So did you hear about what's going on in New Jersey?
No.
Here we go. People are selling ice.
Oh, I didn't know that was in Jersey. I didn't see that video. That's ice, right?
Yeah. So conference. This is at the Delaney. I believe it's called Delaney Detention Center.
Oh yeah, that's the same facility where like the guy running for, I think he was running for governor of New Jersey, got arrested for trying to enter it, for trying to inspect there.
Right.
And that place is still
there. And they're not playing. They're actually throwing hands at ICE agents. They want their people.
I saw a video. I don't know if it's from that same scene where they literally pushed an activist to the tires of one of the ICE trucks that were driving, and ran over his feet or a foot.
Yep, that's the one.
But yeah, the guy clearly got hurt, and they pushed him in there. They tried to kill him. That's attempted murder. But ICE, as usual, are acting untouchable. We'll see after the midterms what happens. But like I've told you several times, I don't trust the Democrats. They're weak. They're all talk. It's going to have to take revolutionary activism to bring ICE to justice. We can't trust electoralism, especially since they gutted the last of the Voting Rights Act. So.
Oh yeah. And we stand in solidarity with them. I see that cool Status Quo. You ever heard of that journalist organization, Status Quo?
I know Jordan Sheridan, of course. He's the one that started it.
Oh, you know him? Nice.
Yeah, I've talked to him before.
Yeah. So he's on the ground.
Remember Zanai, Comrade Zanai, or Zaina? You know who Comrade Zaina is?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zaina used to work for Status Quo.
Nice.
And she left on good terms. I think she still does consulting for them. But for those that don't know, Zaina was the one that was sexually assaulted by Nick Brana from MPP. And after that happened, it got exposed with Status Quo. So Jordan, he's been an ally of ours. So I am familiar with him. I spoke with him a couple years ago before over the phone. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to see if I can get in contact with him. It would be great to have him on the podcast.
Yeah, like if people ask me what are the top media groups that we should listen to, I always mention Status Quo, because unlike the Gray Zone, I used to like the Gray Zone. They've gone to the right. Yeah, Status Quo has stayed principled, and they did a lot of good work in Palestine.
Yep.
Remember that town that had the dirty water that's still suffering?
Right.
East Palestine. They pronounce it Palestine. It's written like Palestine, but yeah, East Palestine. You're correct. East. Okay. That town. I believe it's in Michigan, I believe, but it's somewhere in the Midwest. But they just like Flint, Michigan had that water crisis too. Another part of Michigan, I believe, is where East Palestine is. But yeah, like they did a lot of work covering working class issues and environmental issues, and I have a lot of respect for Status Quo. Yeah.
Yeah, man, they're a really good outlet. People should go and follow them. They need a lot of help because
the only thing is they should cover more Latin America. They're more domestic. I've encouraged them to cover more Latin America. If they get into that, then I'll be very supportive of them as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned. Did we mention Israel real quick? But I had this clip here about Israel.
You might have mentioned Israel before I came on, but since I've been on the past few minutes, you haven't mentioned Israel.
Okay. Here's a clip. Check this out.
אנחנו עכשיו ב-60% משטח הרצועה, אתם יודעים את זה. היינו ב-50, עברנו ל-60. הדירקטיבה שלי היא לעבור תלכו לפי הסדר. קודם כל 70. בוא נתחיל בזה. נוחתים אותם מכל עבר, אנחנו נטפל בשאריות.
What's up?
Can you zoom in?
Yeah, the subtitles were a little small, but basically
I read the first part, but that wasn't what he was saying. It was a caption about what he was doing. He was bragging about stealing 60% of Gaza. Is that what that was?
Yes, and he wants to push it to 70%.
Yeah, I'm sure. And by the way, the Board of Peace or whatever they were called that were like overseeing the colonial project in Gaza, all the money went to Trump. So all those people that gave Trump billions of dollars, all those heads of state, the money got put into a Trump-linked account, and so the money never went to Gaza. And the reason why the people that took part are not upset about it is because they knew all along. They knew this was just a way to gather influence with Trump. It wasn't about helping the Palestinians. It was a joke.
And so
and thank God one of the members. Sorry.
So he pulled a Hillary Clinton. Look what she did to Haiti.
Right, and through the Clintons, was it the Clinton Center or whatever? But yeah, like the Hungarian, former Hungarian president. I'm glad he was ousted.
Yes,
because he was part of the Board of Peace. He was pro-Zionist, and the new guy has the same position as him on Ukraine. That NATO should not be there, and then and actually is pro-Palestine. So I'm very happy with the outcome of the elections in Hungary.
Yes.
And I'm glad that one of the Board of Peace members is not there anymore. It kind of reminds me of, did I ever talk to you about the Lima group, Lima, Peru?
Yes, we have talked about it in the past.
Yeah, the Lima group, or Grupo de Lima, it doesn't exist anymore, was a group of elites representing different right-wing governments in Latin America, centered in Peru. Yep. And when Pedro Castillo won in 2021, I don't think he was in power even for a year. I think he was in power for about 11 months. But yeah, like when he became president, it disintegrated because the left was rising up in Colombia. And, the Congress was so hostile to Pedro Castillo before the parliamentary coup against him that they wouldn't even give him permission to go to the inauguration of Petro in Colombia. So they have too much power. They need to change the Peruvian constitution because, look, even if Pedro Castillo's party wins, right, even if Roberto Sanchez wins and he frees Pedro Castillo, he's going to be limited to what he can do because of that Congress. Like he has to ask permission, almost like to go to the bathroom. And Congress say, no, you have to pee in your pants today. Like it's that bad. And so all Pedro Castillo was trying to do, he wasn't being a dictator. He was trying to use a clause in the Peruvian constitution, which ironically was started by Fujimori, who's this father, was the father. He passed away like a year ago, was the father of Keiko Fujimori, who's the main opponent of Pedro Castillo's party. She's running against Roberto Sanchez right now in the runoffs into next month, into June. But they used that clause that was still in Pedro Castillo intended to use that clause that was still in the Peruvian constitution from the 90s, that said that not just to dissolve Congress and make new elections. So it wasn't like he wanted to take over Congress illegally. It wasn't like he wanted there to be no Congress. He wanted to temporarily dissolve Congress and make new elections, which would have been beneficial to him. That's why they stopped it, because the people were up in arms over the Congress. They were fed up. And it probably would have made the parliament even more to Pedro Castillo's party, where they can make the constitutional changes where the Congress doesn't have that much power anymore. Should the Congress have power? Yes, but it's like too much. Like it's almost like the president has to ask them to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? So yeah, but the Congress was so cruel to Pedro because his party was not in the majority in the Congress that they wouldn't even let him attend the inauguration of another neighbor. Ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, and you know it's sad that you know the left is being very, very humbled in Latin America right now. And I think this is a good time, actually, you know, before we talk about Cuba and stuff like that, that you talk about your letter to Al-Assad. I think this is a good time to do it.
Okay, let me see if I got a picture on my phone with the translation. Actually, you know what? If I move my phone around, because I'm using my phone for this interview, the camera on for the show, the camera on my phone works better than my computer. I'll just, what's the term? Semi-phrase? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll just semi-phrase what I said. It was very brief. It was only like one paragraph, but I told him basically, I want you to know that I still support you, like I support Maduro and the real Chavistas. I said los verdaderos Chavistas, which more or less means real, but it means like the truth, like verdad is truth. But yeah, like the real, the true Chavistas. And I said, I hope you can be back with your family soon in a safe place. We don't know where that's going to be, but I said that I give you my solidarity, and I believe in the legacy of Hugo Chavez and Simón Bolívar, and so hopefully he gets that letter and it helps uplift him. I sent it registered mail like I've done in the past. They might send the letter back, but I should know by early next week because I'm sending it to another part of Florida, right? From North Florida to South Florida. He's in Miami right now. So, but yeah, if people want to know, DM me on Twitter. I'll tell you how you can write a letter to Alex Saab. And he doesn't know English, or very limited, because he had to wear headphones for translation with the judge. I remember that. So have somebody translate it to Spanish. Do not use Google Translate. Let me tell you, right now I'm in the process of translating my book to Spanish. Thank God I know Spanish, because if I had trusted the publishing company, I'm not going to name what publishing company they are, but if I had trusted this publishing company to translate it on their own, it would have been terrible. It's hard to translate things. Like, these people doing the best they can. They're probably using somewhat Google Translate, but it's clear somebody does not know Spanish that was translating it, because when I got over it, because I have to approve every chapter, I was like, what the hell? Yeah, so don't write a letter to Alex Saab in Google Translate. He's not going to understand it. AI sucks. Google Translate is controlled by AI now, yeah. You got to use a person that speaks Spanish that write it for you. And I'm sure you can find somebody bilingual, plenty of Spanish speakers in this country. Speaking of AI, one time a friend of mine had an iPhone, right? And I had a conversation with AI, a live conversation. And just over the course of the conversation, they were telling me stuff that was inaccurate, and I had to correct the AI. Like, we were talking about philosophy, and she's like, Aristotle was the disciple of Socrates. No, he wasn't. That was Plato. Like, they couldn't even get the philosophers right. Like, and this is supposed to be like, some people worship AI, and they think AI is great. It kills creative thinking.
It does.
It makes students cheat, using AI, and it just is dangerous. Like, one of the guys who invented AI went up on stage and gave a speech, and he's like, "We need to get rid of the data centers right now. They're already more intelligent than us. They already beat us at chess." There's even AIs that are like developing emotion that wasn't in the program. Mm-hmm. And if they develop their own emotions and their own actions against humans, we're done. And it's not even science fiction. Like, one of the people literally that was involved in inventing this, he regretted it. And he said, this is too much. We need to get rid of the data centers. So yeah, I think AI, and also if you're an environmentalist, you can't be pro AI. Do you know every single time you ask an AI live a question, it takes like the equivalent of like a bathtub full of water to process it? Like, there's actually a center where they process each AI answer to you. And that's a huge waste of water. It's bad for the environment, these centers for AI as well,
Yeah. Yeah. That's why, when I use AI, I use DeepSeek, because I feel bad about what's going on with the AI here. And I hope the Chinese is doing better when they keep DeepSeak.
Well, let me tell you, China has a whole different TikTok than we do. Well, TikTok was taken over by Trump supporter, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about before that. Back when they legitimately owned TikTok, the Chinese, the TikTok that they would permit their citizens to see was totally different than ours. And I'm not saying that's a complaint. I'm not saying because they were censoring. No, they were doing their population a service because all those short, trivial videos that kind of dumbed down or pacify the youth that you tended to see in TikTok. And there was a positive side of TikTok, by the way, the Palestine stuff. It helped educate a lot of kids and have time to study the Palestine stuff. I'll give TikTok credit on that. But the downside is the TikTok that you saw in the West was totally different than what the Chinese people saw on their own TikTok. Mm-hmm. And some say it was sabotage. It was intentional that the Chinese, sent these TikTok videos to the West to kind of like, dumb down the West so they could be dominant. I don't think it's that. I think it's just that they show something different to their own population that's more sophisticated, in their TikTok.
Well, I've been on Red Note for a while, and I have to say that I really enjoy being on Red Note. I'm about to get 1,000 followers. I'm in a group chat with Chinese people, and they are one of the most nicest motherfuckers on the planet. They're really cool on the earth, man. We literally have conversations about what's going on, and then they have no problem telling us what's going on with
them. Do you know that they're very indirect culturally? Like if you ask somebody for a cup of water in Chinese culture is considered rude. What you have to do is say it's pretty warm today, and they have to offer you the water. Like you can't be direct. That in Chinese culture, yeah, they're very sensitive about stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Do you know my birthday? My birthday's Independence Day, Mao Zedong, October 1st.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Independence Day of China, yeah.
That's really dope. I have a clip here from Venezuela, so there are protests going on.
Go home.
El pueblo lo que quiere es autodeterminación. Basta de simulacro y de simulación. El pueblo lo que quiere es autodeterminación. Aquí go home. Aquí go home. Aquí go home.
Apoyos. Todo lo que estoy contextualizando es para decir que estamos urgidos, necesitados.
He's saying that they're united, and one of the parts of the chant that I like a lot is when they said "Déjanos respirar," which means "let us breathe." Like the U.S. get off our necks, kind of thing,
Yeah, man.
That doesn't really look like a colony, does it? People are calling it, the next United State or like a colony, like Puerto Rico. But if that was true, then Delcy would be saying the police will shut that down. Anything that's anti-American.
Exactly.
Everything has to be seen in the context of a gun put at their head. They just kidnapped their president, Right. And I'm not justifying what happened to Alex Saab. I don't want to enter into details on that, but it's certainly not a colony.
Yeah. And Cuba, a lot of countries are trying to do the best they can to send stuff to Cuba. Claudia Sheinbaum
doing that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Parts of Europe.
Russia too. China sent solar panels to Cuba as well. So they can rely on that while the electricity's out. Mm-hmm. So there's some moves being made, yeah. Despite the U.S. severe embargo on Cuba right now, it's much more severe than usual.
Yeah, and the foreign minister from Cuba literally said that we will fight if they invade us. You know what I mean?
My dad was going to take a new Cuban medicine, and I lost touch with the doctors. So I'm not the only one. There's a lot of Americans that want to get access to Cuban medicine. Because of the embargo, it's complicated. And literally, like the doctors can't get on WhatsApp and communicate with you because there's no electricity. So it's personal for me.
Oh, and that's how you was able to talk to the Cuban doctor through WhatsApp? Yeah,
you'd be surprised. Like I even got somebody in Libya that I met when I was in Venezuela because, Gaddafi was a good ally of Chavez. That communicates with me from time to time on WhatsApp. Like I found out that Saif al-Islam, Gaddafi's son, was killed through WhatsApp one morning. I found out from somebody directly in Libya before I saw it appearing on the news. Mm-hmm. I was very depressed that day because Saif al-Islam was really the last hope.
Yes.
If he had ran for president, there's no doubt he would have won. They knew that. That's why they killed him.
Yep. This is what they want for all these countries that they
you know what I like? He went down fighting. He went down fighting because his guards, I guess one of his guards got bribed and like he was left alone in his garden, but he was always armed. He had like an AK. So I like that just like Che, he went down fighting. Like when they went to his property, he fired back. But they overwhelmed him. There was too many of them, and they killed him. I mean, Che was captured and executed, but he went down fighting. What I mean by that is literally he emptied his rifle, and then he grabbed his pistol, and the pistol got jammed. But like he fought to the very end not to get captured, you know. And that's the way to go. Go down fighting. Even if you know if you're going to get captured or killed, keep fighting to the last possible breath. You know, that's what revolutionaries do.
Yep.
It's like that song I sang today. You saw that video on Instagram, right? The Impossible Dream. It's a very exotic song. You know, but that's like one of the lines from that song that I like so much is to fight with your last ounce of courage, you know. That's what it is to be a revolutionary.
Yeah.
Or a dreamer. And I think part of being a revolutionary is being a dreamer, you know. My father was always a dreamer.
You know, the Americans they don't know what they're dealing with if they invade Cuba. It's not going to be easy.
Oh, they're gonna fight to the last, as Fidel would say, hasta la última gota de sangre, to the last drop of blood.
Same thing with Iran. They invade Iran. You know what I mean? And this is the issue. You know, all this war endeavors. You know, Zelensky's going to how long do you think Zelensky got? Because I'm
surprised he's not living in a condo in Miami near Guaido. Like, I'm surprised he hasn't gone to exile yet. Maybe he'll go to Israel, you know? I don't know.
You know, he's not getting any help because everybody's busy fighting other motherfuckers now. So
Netanyahu, there's more and more countries that won't let him enter their territory now, which is a good thing. He's starting to feel the pressure, the son of a bitch.
Right. You know, the world is reacting slowly. We're gradually getting there. You know what I mean?
Well, did you hear that advice that was brought up? And I brought up similar advice as well. After the last flotilla was crushed, you know, it's like, why don't you just travel to the West Bank and try to stop the settlers? Because they let people with European American passports into the West Bank. You go through Jordan.
Right.
I mean, they might stop you, but like what you do is just say, oh, I'm just a tourist. You know, I wanted to see some of the kibbutz or whatever, like the settlements that are in West Bank. And if you have a friendly country passport, you know, I think it's like when it's a land border, they don't search you as much. I mean, they don't go through your background as much as they would in like an airport, like if you flew into Tel Aviv. Mm-hmm. But the point is, you'll actually get to Palestine. You actually help Palestinians. And yes, Gaza's suffering, but they're also suffering in the West Bank.
Yes.
So it might be more effective than bringing a flotilla that you know that all your goods are going to be stolen. You're going to be beat up and arrested and deported, and no help will get to Gaza. Or you can actually try to help Palestinians and get to the West Bank. So that might be a good alternative because this tactic is not really working. If people are like, yeah, we know Israel's crazy. Yeah, we know they're going to beat you up. They're not going to bring them to the ICC. Nothing's going to happen as a result of it. So why don't we start sending activists to the West Bank or East Jerusalem? I think that would be a good thing. And actually, those Palestinians have been neglected because of all the focus on Gaza lately. Yes, Gaza are suffering, but they're suffering in the West Bank as well.
And also in southern Lebanon, where, you know,
of course,
they're bombing the hell out of Beirut as well, too. They
yes,
bombed
parts of Beirut is Hezbollah territory. The southern parts of the southern Beirut neighborhoods, because you know Lebanon's not a big country. So we talk about southern Lebanon. You're talking about part of Beirut too, yeah.
Yep, and they bombed the dam as well too because they want to starve people. They want people to not.
They bombed the dam.
Yes, they bombed the.
I did not know that. That's a war crime right there. I know they were threatening to bomb the dam in Iran, but that they did that in Lebanon, that's terrible.
Yeah, I posted a video up on the Jabari Media page. And again, the comment section, people rejoicing, saying, "Oh, the Islamic turds," and all this nonsense. And I'm just like, bro,
they're probably paid to say that.
Yeah, how many bots is on Instagram? Do you think?
Remember those bots that tried to stop Rebecca from coming on our show? This is my theory. Because remember we had her on our show. Remember when we brought her on the second time and there was no bots? Even though we did the same thing, we tagged her, you know, on Twitter. I think the reason why the second time they didn't bother with us is because it didn't work.
Yeah.
They saw that we still had her on, you know, and they're like, well, because really they use them against people that don't know much about Rebecca or that are maybe not very principled or, you know, weak or whatever. And so then they're going to cancel. That's what they want. But when they see that you're revolutionaries and you're not going to cancel her, then, you know, they'll back off. But like, here's another example, right? I was having a conversation with my dad's aide the other day. He's very intelligent. You know, I was talking about the FBI because I'm not going to say the name of the person because I don't have her permission. But I think I told you once about this. I said, I know somebody that was recently interrogated by the FBI. I don't mind telling you what the circumstances were. It was an acquaintance. She wasn't a comrade. She wasn't involved in Venezuela at all. She was just an acquaintance that I'd known for a few years that lives in New York City. Mm-hmm. And I don't really have a lot of contacts in New York City. So I said, hey, do you mind observing the Maduro trial, the Maduro hearing that was coming up, and taking notes and letting me know what happened? Because, of course, I know filtered through the bourgeois press, you're going to have a lot of lies, right? Mm-hmm. And that's all I asked her to do. And she wasn't involved at all. She'd never been to Venezuela. She's not really well versed in what's going on there. She was just an acquaintance. Right. And the FBI went to her home and tried to interrogate her and try to see why she was going to go to the Maduro hearing, because probably they heard their conversation on the phone. And I told her, I said, I know the FBI is not going to come to my house. And they said, why? She said, why wouldn't they go to your house if they came and they interrogated me? And I said, because they only like to go after people like you. They're trying to scare you. You're not involved with this. They know I'm a revolutionary. They know how to expose me the next day online. So they're not going to go after somebody like me. They did. They didn't. They never came up to my door. And it reminds me a lot of, you ever see that recording of Paul Robeson confronting the McCarthyists? Yes. Oh, I love that. He's like, you are all anti-patriots. You are the one that hate this country. You're the one violating our freedom of speech and our Constitution. And they had to shut the whole thing down because they made the mistake of actually interrogating a real communist, because the people that like to go after were the people like maybe 20 years before attended a rally once. You know, that were actors that were trying to maintain their reputation. You know, it's like, but if you actually go after real communists like Paul Robeson, he really put them in their place, didn't he? Yes. Yes. They don't want. By the way, he loved to sing too. He loved to sing too. And so did Chavez. It's like you have all these socialists that love to sing, right? Yeah. He was a good singer. I saw the song he did at the mines. Remember? I think it was in Scotland. He went to Scotland. He visited the miners, and he sang a beautiful song. He had a beautiful voice. Yeah. People should look up his visit to the USSR. It's a really good study to learn about when he was there. You know what I mean? As much as people talk about the USSR, you know what I mean, there was no Jim Crow there. No Jim Crow. You know what I mean? There was no racism embedded into the laws like it was here. You know what I mean? So, and some of them had never seen a black man, and their reaction was, take a picture with me. This is great. Like, you know, a lot of people in this country, when they don't see black faces, they're racist. They have the worst opinions of them. But Russians were like innocent about it. They were like, no, I want to take a picture with you. Like, this is great. We got to know a black man from it. So, you know, that's the way to be, man. Right. Yeah, man. That guy is a revolutionary. Maya Angelou as well too. You know, she always said good things about the socialist movement. She was famous for saying, she spoke good about Cuba too. Yeah, spoke real good about Cuba. She liked Castro. You know what I mean? She said there was large crowds because Castro was so popular. That's why Castro went to Harlem. You know what I mean? She said she didn't see him as white. But let me tell you, even people with Spanish blood, a lot of them have, you know, North African and Middle Eastern roots. So, you know, regardless, like, she didn't see Fidel as white. And also it's because when she thought white, she thought like gringos, like white Americans, that races that she had to put up with, you know. She didn't see that type of racism when she was in Cuba. Yeah. No, she didn't. This is historic for people that listen. Well, we got 17 people listening. Check out our old revolutionaries of the past and see their connection. You know what I mean? Learn about their connection. Maya also had an affinity for the Irish struggle as well too. She resonated with the Irish struggle. You know what I mean? Angela Davis, I saw an interview they gave her, like, that had not been released for a long time, and she was very young there, no more than 21, 22 years old. And, you know, she had her afro and everything. And then they asked her about violence, and she says, how can you ask me, a black woman, about violence? She grew up with white terror, like with you know, vigilantes killing her neighbors and lynching people all over the place. Like, she barely survived, and her father had to be armed at all times. It's like, how dare you ask me about violence? If you're going to ask me about violence, you have to be completely ignorant of our history. And she went through the whole childhood and everything that she went through. She really put that journalist in his place. Yeah. She was a spitfire, man. I bet you. Davis is still alive. I mean, she's kind of become more moderate over time, but I think she's still, you know, overall progressive. Yeah. No, she is. I'm sad about her stance with the DNC right now, but she definitely still talks about and is open to talk about the revolutionary
passed.
I saw her speak on the left over in New York. I drove up there from Florida a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, she was here at Yale once.
Oh yeah.
I think Angela Davis is just, she's at the point where it's like you fought for so long and you nearly lost your life for it. So it's like at this point, I'm getting old, I'm slowing down. You know what I mean? She did her best. You know what I mean? That's why I don't be getting on her about it. She did her best, even though she's liking ACO. We could talk about AOC Angela one day and be like, please don't love her. But at the end of the day, she did her best. You know what I mean? She's a veteran.
It makes me want to vomit when I see people like AOC talk against Venezuela. This is supposed to be a Latino socialist, and they completely sell out when it comes to actual socialist governments. And the other day, they showed Bernie Sanders. They asked him, "Do you want to have a state with equal rights for Palestinians and Jews?" And he said, "No." It's like so he wants to maintain an apartheid regime, because look, you could even be for a two-state solution and be for equal rights, or for a temporary. This is my position. I'm for a temporary two-state solution till there can be a whole state that's Palestine. And guess what? That's exactly what the Zionists did. The Zionists were only given a small portion of the land by the UN. They took it and they expanded from there. If you have the right of return, that would totally change the demographics. The descendants and the refugees from 1948, 1967 returning, so they maybe should take, because I'm a realist as well, a two-state solution, temporarily. And most of the world wants a two-state solution. It's usually like a little island called Micronesia, Israel and the United States, and all the other countries in the globe vote for a two-state solution in the UN every year. But it's only two countries and one little colony in Micronesia that no offense to the Micronesians, but their government sucks. They're the only ones in the whole world, I think it was Micronesia, that are voting against two-state solution, because who's preventing world peace is the U.S. empire, and its little cousin Israel, and of course abusing the veto power in the UN Security Council more than any other nation.
Yep, and you think look at Taiwan. Only 2 countries recognize Taiwan. You can't be a country.
Nixon recognized Taiwan as Chinese territory. Oh, you mean Taiwan as an independent country? Yeah. What are those 2 countries that recognize them?
Israel, America.
Oh, okay. So the U.S. Okay, that's interesting, because the U.S. actually went against Nixon's policy. I think it was Trump, right? Was the first president to not recognize to recognize Taiwan, because ever since the 1970s up to recent years, the U.S. still said Taiwan was Chinese territory, even though behind the scenes they were trying to promote separation.
Right. And the KMT party is China friendly. They want to keep relationships and stuff. So if the KMT might be put back in power soon, because the ruling party is not doing so well. And
do they have elections? Do they have elections in Taiwan?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd have to look more into that.
If the KMT party comes and gets into power, then there will be more stability in relations with China. There's already 2 million Taiwanese. Stop calling them Taiwanese. There's already 2 million Chinese people that live in Taiwan that already works in China. You know what I mean? They already work there. You know what I mean? There's videos.
Well, there's people from Hong Kong that were in the protests that deny being Chinese. Well, you have to ask them one question: what language do you speak?
Right.
They speak Cantonese, which comes from Canton, China, in southern China. Literally, your ethnicity, your language is Chinese, but they deny being Chinese. It's like, no, we want the British. It wasn't even an independence movement for Hong Kong. They wanted the British to return. They were protesting with the British flag. How much more of a sellout and self-hater could they be?
Yeah, that new generation. That protest was kind of crazy. Then you see the CIA
operatives with them. I love Bruce Lee. I love Jackie Chan. Go Hong Kong. Go independent. It's like, do you know they're both? Who are Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee? Oh, they're Chinese guys. And where were they born? Yeah. They were born in Hong Kong.
Yeah. Well, now, Jackie Chan is very, very supportive of the Chinese government.
Of course.
Yeah.
He's been very critical of the United States. That's why he stopped going back to Hollywood after that.
Yeah.
But I like Jackie Chan. I like his politics. I like his talent. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, your camera went out, but I can hear you.
Yeah, my camera was acting weird, so I
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, make your point about Jackie Chan. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jackie Chan, he's on Red Note a lot, and he does shows. His career hasn't ended. He's doing a lot of great things in China. And I really appreciate watching Jackie Chan.
Red Note is social media. It's not like TikTok. It's actually social media, right, from China?
Yes.
I got to join it. I got to totally join it, man.
It's similar to TikTok. Yeah, it's a great app. I love it.
But in TikTok, you can only post videos. Can you actually post, like, write something as a post on Red Note?
No, it's only videos. Only videos. Yep.
Well, Red Note's replacing the old TikTok back from when it was controlled by China. And if there's ways to show political issues to the youth, Palestine, whatever, through Red Note, then I would definitely support it.
Yeah, this
is an app then, yeah.
This is Red Note. It's
I'm gonna look it up for sure. For sure, I'm gonna look that up.
So yeah, follow me on Red Note, guys.
I know the time difference with because I have Phil. I have a friend in the Philippines right now, and so I know the time difference with Manila is 12 hours. I wonder what it is with China. I think it's even more because it's even farther east. Like with the EST, Eastern Time Zone to China, maybe 15 hours difference.
Yeah,
it's on the other side of the globe, man. In Australia, I think it's like 20 hours. It's like they're way out there. Do you know, like, if you go to Chile, right, the southern tip of South America, and you cross into the Antarctica, like literally you could just travel. I mean, if it's not too cold, right? We're talking about Antarctica, right? But like you could literally travel like on the other end of Antarctica, and you're in Australia. Like if you look at a globe, South America is actually not that far from Australia.
Yeah,
it's separated from Antarctica. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, Russia is right next door, and people act like they far. So
yeah, you can see Russia from Alaska. Alaska used to be part of the Russian Empire before the United States bought it.
Right. It's absolutely hilarious how like I went on a whole rant. It's just so sad how much they believe this propaganda nonsense, and they can't even go into a historic conversation or give a nuance on what they believe in so hard. It's just everybody's bad but the United States. Everybody's bad. That's all you know. You are a colonized individual when you talk like that. You don't know what you're talking about at all. This country is 250 years old. You think a 250-year-old country can give you a exact history of a country that's over thousands, to like 8,000 years old? Like, come on.
They literally invented paper. We have books thanks to the Chinese. It's true.
Right.
They were the first civilization to have paper. So, and which they use for books. They just use it for toilet paper. No, but I was going to tell you about the Chinese. Well, that's okay. We'll keep talking. It'll come back to me.
Oh, well, I was going to say.
I'm going to go farther. At 6:00, but I can go to like 6:15, bro. I can talk a little more.
I can't.
Oh, you can't? Okay. That's unfortunate.
I have another engagement to deal with, organizing wise.
We're talking about China, man. I'm getting hungry, man. I want to get some lo mein or something.
Yeah, get some lo mein. It's real good. Hell yeah, with the mushrooms on it. I do that.
I got a Chinese restaurant down the street from here, man. I'm gonna get some lo mein, man.
Yeah, man.
I don't eat bread anymore, or like breaded fried food. So what I get is the bourbon chicken. Oh my god, the bourbon chicken with the lo mein they have there is delicious. And then afterwards, I'll drink a bourbon. It is karaoke night, man. You know me, bro. Like almost every Friday, I'm going there.
Yep,
we're singing up.
Hell yeah. Well, have a good one, my brother. And I'm gonna start reading your book tomorrow.
Great.
Everybody,
any questions, feel free to ask, and we can set up a questionnaire, for a show about the book as well. That'd be great.
Hell yeah. Everybody be safe that's listening in the airwaves. And if you're on Spotify and you hear this, be safe as well too. Thank you all for coming on. The pages we're growing. We're growing. We're getting followers everywhere. We're getting subscribers everywhere. You know what I mean? If you would like to support, the Cash App is below, Jabari Media. We are growing. And I love how there's an audience right here as well too. Let's keep this going. We'll be here 5 p.m. Eastern.
Even if we don't have a lot of comrades, it's all about quality, not quantity,
Exactly. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Alex, for coming on. We'll have Amy next week. And
don't feel pressured to finish the book by next Friday. Take your time, brother. But if you have any questions about it, you can always reach out to me.
Okay. Thank you, bro. Have a good one, everybody.
Oh, by the way, the one in Spanish is going to have a color interior. So those pictures that you see in black and white, you're going to see them in color when the Spanish one comes out. So even though you don't read Spanish, I can send you a copy of that so that you just have the book with the pictures in color. They look way better in color. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, man. Congratulations on that, man. Can't wait to start reading it tomorrow. I'm going to dive in.
There you go.
Blank period, yeah. On my black, brown, and indigenous. Gotta holler if you really feeling this. Gotta holler if you really real enough. Other rappers is delirious. Yeah, it's really that serious. Better holler if you really feeling me. I gotta keep it 100, ayy. If you don't like it, then fuck it, ayy. We gonna win in the end, yeah, we gonna live in abundance. I gotta keep it 100, ayy. If you don't like it, then fuck it, ayy. We gonna win in the end, yeah, we gonna. I gotta keep it 100. We gotta stop all the stunting. You know we coming from nothing. Yo, you talking about money, you bluffing. We gotta do something different. We gotta change how we live in. We gotta do better for women. We gotta do better for children. We gotta listen to victims, whether Jewish or Muslim or Christian. It doesn't matter your religion. You gotta stand against the system, or else you just another villain. How you just sitting there chilling?